Good evening, and welcome to the North Rock School Board meeting, where the Dr. Gregory Pulaski is our proud superintendent. I would like to make an official announcement that all public comments will be at the end of our board meeting. At this time, I shall proceed. I will officially call this meeting to order. And at this time, we will have the roll call by Ms. Colquitt.
Mrs. Williams.
Here.
Ms. Wonka.
Here.
Dr. Redis.
Here.
Ms. Temple.
Here.
Ms. Person West and Mr. Still.
At this time, we are privileged to have today one of Lakewood's students who will give us the flag salute. Would you please come on down? Great job.
Thank you, ladies.
Great. Give them a hand. Mom here. Mother here. Grandmother. Okay. Parents here, Ms. Boss?
They are, but they'll be part of the next part too.
Okay then. Thank you. Well, thank you. Give them another hand for a job well done. Visions and mission statement.
The vision statement is world-class schools for world-class students, and our mission statement is the North Little Rock School District and the community will provide for achievement, accountability, acceptance, and the necessary assets in the pursuit of each student's educational success.
Thank you. Recognition of people, events, and programs.
Madam President, members of our Board of Education, we welcome our first recognition, which is 5.1, which is one of the highlights of all of our regular board meetings, is our student presentation. And I'll turn it over to our fabulous principal, Ms. Boss, of Lakewood Elementary School.
Madam President, Dr. Pulaski, School Board, and all of our parents out here, Lakewood has kind of shown what we've done academically this year with our letter grade. So we kind of wanted to highlight We've shown what we can do with our academics, so we wanted to do a little more of a highlight on our fine arts and some of the other programs that our kids do. So you will hear our choir and you will hear our Lions Club.
Can I just turn? We don't have to take them off.
I want to brag on these kids before we start because all of these kids give up time after school and extracurricular time to practice. And you can see that we have a few kids that are in both choir and Lions, Jocelyn as well. So we have a lot of young musicians. I'm so proud of them. So we're going to start out with a song about Lakewood. Let me hear us. I got the strength of a lion, learner of Lakewood night, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. We have two quick holiday songs that we're gonna do. Eliza, can you get those two red bells that are back there?
Parents, we have wanted you to come and stand behind your children, so you'll be on YouTube tonight. Everybody, everybody, this is a celebration, and we appreciate you being in the district, and we want where you coming. We got more parents. Oh, you got them first, okay. Okay, parents, come on down.
Hey, first row, y'all step forward just a little bit.
There you
Step
go.
forward, and then back row, y'all step forward a little bit.
Come on down, parents. We're proud of you and proud of your children. We thank you so much for being in the North Rock School District. Hey, there's a step up here. Step. Go all the way down. There's steps. Can you go on down? Steps. Yeah, there you go.
I got shade.
Thank you. Let's give these children another hand. Don't forget to go to YouTube or NLR.com. Those of you that don't have seats, feel free to come down and sit in front. Every, Mr. McLean, your family is standing up on the wall.
Fops, come on down.
In special recognitions this evening, we want to first recognize the North Little Rock tennis team. The team definitely made their presence known and had a good showing throughout conference and state. Teammates Caroline Jones and Kinsley Capel went against each other at the Central Conference matchup. Caroline won that matchup, but they both collected enough points for the girls' team to win the Class 6A Girls Central Conference title. Evan Randall, Caroline Jones, and Kinsley Capel represented the team on the state level. Caroline finished runner-up in Class 6A state singles and also finished runner-up in the state tennis overall championship. Congratulations to the team, coaches, and families of these student athletes. And we'll ask them to come up at this time.
Parents, come on down. Parents, all the parents that are here, come on down. Give the parents a hand for supporting their children.
Will, come on down and stand by the coach.
Congratulations, and thank you for great parent support and involving your students in the programs.
And we can't forget that Coach Paula Jones was voted by the other coaches as the 6A Girls Tennis Coach of the Year.
Jonah Pulliam, who is a junior at North Little Rock High School, earned a perfect score on the PSAT. A perfect score is a 1520. As you can imagine, this is an impressive score and quite attractive for Jonah to receive lots of scholarship and college offers. Most importantly, a competitive score and other factors could qualify Jonah to be a part of the National Merit Scholarship Program. Jonah is a student athlete. He's a member of the cross-country team. He is an AP scholar with distinction, meaning he has earned an average score of at least a 3.5 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more of these exams. Jonah is NLRSD homegrown. He started his academic journey at Indian Hills Elementary School. Jonah Pulliam.
Did a parent come? Congratulations, and thank you, parents, for being supportive of your child.
At the National Association for the Education of Homeless Children and Youth annual conference, one of our own received commendations for her work as a tireless advocate for our students who need help securing life's essentials. Ms. Bobby Riggins received the Homeless Liaison of the Year award. Ms. Riggins is the district social worker and homeless liaison. If you know her, then you know she loves her role and she loves her student and their families, and she works long hours to make sure our students have clothes, food, and most of all, her love. Ms. Riggins could not be here this evening, but we wanted to make sure we celebrated her on this achievement. So, Ms. Bobby Riggins. For our superintendent's honor roll tonight, we'll be recognizing Ms. Audrey Moore. She was nominated to receive this honor from Casey Hunzel, who is the English as a second language teacher at North Little Rock High School. And Ms. Moore, would you please come up at this time? So Ms. Hunzel writes the following: 10 members of the North Little Rock School District English as a second language team were given the privilege of attending the SET ESOL conference in South Carolina. We spent 4 days going through different sessions where we learned about strategies for working with our students and making connections with the ESOL community. Something occurred while we were there that I feel the district should be aware of. Every day, we attended several breakout sessions, and we got to choose which ones we felt would best impact us as teachers and help us to meet the needs of our students. One of the sessions at the conference was led by North Little Rock School District teacher Audrey Moore. Ms. Moore teaches ESL at Amboy Elementary, where she has been for about 12 years. She does something amazing there with our English learners. She leads a bilingual book exchange program to help influence students to read and to encourage parental involvement. As a previous teacher of English learners at Amboy, I have personally seen the book exchange program myself and the wonderful impact it has on our students. Mrs. Moore took her extensive knowledge of ESL education and her amazing book exchange program with her to South Carolina and presented it to other teachers at the conference, which I think is so amazing. This was, in my opinion, a very big success for Mrs. Moore, but also for our district, and I wanted to make sure that she was recognized in this some type of way. She did an excellent job, and we are all so proud. Congratulations.
You have your family, your little girl. You have your support staff from the school. Mr. Pennington. All right.
It was Grinch Day, so y'all forgive me.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
December's Parent North Star recipient is no stranger to the Glenview community. She has been a dedicated parent ever since her son's kindergarten year. She's been an advocate and dedicated volunteer to Glenview. Our recipient supports our teachers and administrative staff on a daily basis. She is there to assist with students' needs, teachers' needs, offering to assist in any way, ensuring that everyone had a great day. She can be seen making copies, sitting in the classroom, and not just her son's room, but any room that needs assistance, helping in the lunchroom with a big heart, and she's always seeking to be an example of the school's motto, grow. Great attitude, respect, on task, work hard. Our recipient is always looking for ways to help, always flashing that big, beautiful smile. This year, she supported substitutes and volunteers with treats and goodies on National Substitute Day. Our recipient serves as the PTA president. She's built community relationships that have resulted in donations for the school. She made her TV debut as one of our district-wide Parent Engagement of the Month video celebrities. She is an alumni of the North Little Rock School District, and she bleeds blue and gold. Glenview staff is so proud to have her on the team and always in the building. Dr. P, board members, North Little Rock community, and staff, help me recognize our December 2023 Parent North Star, Kenya Bradford.
Thank you and congratulations.
December's Great Rising recipient is no stranger to Glenview either. Our recipient serves as an associate pastor at New Hope Baptist Church. His commitment and dedication to carrying out the ministry work on a day-to-day basis is unmatched. As an author, husband, and father, he's always searching for ways to make life better for others, especially students. Our recipient is a staple at Glenview Elementary, where he spends time volunteering his time for whatever is needed. He arranges the first day of school welcome event with the male ministry from the church. He has served as the promotion speaker and a chaperone for classroom field trips. He has provided meals for the Kings in Training Mentor Group, as well as teachers for various events. He serves on the School Wellness Committee. Our recipient has a commitment to ensure that there's always a bridge from Glenview Elementary to New Hope Baptist Church. This Christmas, New Hope Youth Department provided 300 Christmas gifts for Glenview students. The smiles on the children's faces said it all. New Hope Baptist Church is a great example of how a community church should collaborate with the community school. Dr. Paluski, board members, North Little Rock School District, Glenview staff, help me salute our 2023 December Great Rising recipient, Pastor Dr. Alan Graves and New Hope Baptist Church.
Stephanie. Congratulations and thank you for all that you do for the North Rock School District. Executive closed session. Executive closed session per the North Rock School District Policy 1.14a, stating that private or closed discussion by the board may occur as part of a regular or special board meeting. Executive sessions may be held only for the purposes of considering employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or the resignation of an employee, or to discuss matters of pupil punishment if requested by the parent or legal guardian. No resolution, agreement, or motion considered in the executive session shall be legally binding unless the board reconvenes in a public session and present the items for them to vote for to the membership. Further, Arkansas Code Title 25, Chapter 19, Section 106(2)C states, the specific purpose of the executive session shall be announced in public before going into executive session. Please join me in the executive closed sessions to discuss the following matters: employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, discipline, or the resignation of an employee. Thank you. Involvement.
Yep, 7.1.
At this time, board members and superintendent's involvement. Board members, Ms. Valerie McLean.
Okay, on November 29th, we had lunch at the North Little Rock Academy and got to visit with the students in the cafeteria, so that was delightful to meet with some of them. December 3rd, I watched Alabama beat the #1 team in the country, which was Georgia. Oh, wait a minute, that wasn't a North Little Rock activity. Sorry about that, but I can say Roll Tide, okay? December 6th through 8th, I attended the ASBA annual conference in Little Rock and heard great speakers, great ideas, great sessions, new laws coming into effect, ways to improve middle school behavior, an introduction to Chat GPT that I didn't really know anything about, but I know a little bit now to be dangerous. And to top it off, we got the ASBA Master Board Award because all our members have over 50 hours of continuing education. Yeah. The 13th, we had a wonderful tour and visit for lunch at Boone Park. And then I attended the self-care fair at First Baptist Church in North Little Rock down the street, visited with many of our staff, and they were having a great time. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. And then the 14th went to the 6th grade building for a fantastic music program of chimes done by the SPED students of Miss Batt and the music teacher, Miss Bashirs. They bought chimes with a grant that they were awarded from the North Little Rock Education Foundation. And it was wonderful. Those kids were fantastic. And that was like half the class. The other half will be doing it the next semester, so I intend to go back to that. And then at 6 p.m. that night, I went to the first annual Winter Wonderland event at Central Office. I could hardly get through that door. Well, I had trouble getting a parking spot, too, because there were so many people here, parents, their kids, employees, admin. It was wonderful. Santa was here, and Miss Claus, who's sitting out there in the audience tonight. And they were taking pictures of families with Santa and Miss Claus and then printing the picture out to give to them so they'd have it as they leave. It was wonderful. And I've never seen so many toppings for hot chocolate, ever, ever. The hot cocoa was awesome. And then went to the North Rock Academy to help judge the door contest. Everybody decorated their doors out there, so there was a whole lot of Christmas spirit showing on the doors out there at the school, so that was fun too.
Okay, I attended a few board lunches, North Little Rock Academy and Boone Park. I attended the band concerts the high school and the middle school hosted, and then I also assisted in delivering socks and underwear to a few of our elementary schools.
Dr. Redis.
Okie dokie. I went to the ASBA conference December 6th through the 8th, and like Ms. Valerie said, it was awesome. I learned a lot. The first Security Beardsley dinner, it's always wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Beardsley. The 6th grade school band presentation, I got to see I just know the flutes and whatever they call that section. The winds. I got to see the winds. The first annual Winter Wonderland, like she said, it was awesome. It was I didn't know that many people could even fit in here, but it was really good. I was a judge for the Academy Christmas door decorations. Every single door was decorated. It was awesome participation. Kudos to the Academy. The luncheons at the Academy, at the luncheon, we had 2 ambassadors. We had Gregory, he's a 6th grader, and we had Trinity, who's an 8th grader. They were awesome ambassadors. Boone Park, yay. Boone Park Student Council ambassadors. We had Caden, Devin, Sayes, Jennifer. The president is Addison, and Jennifer, and the greatest PEP coordinator, Ms. Valley. And she made sure to let us know that the NEAT program is working because they have 93% attendance rating. So we know that that's working.
And I attended the Arkansas School Board Association conference, and I want to know who won the door decorating contest.
They didn't tell us.
Okay, I had the chance to also attend the Arkansas School Board Association conference, and we had I stopped in for the Veterans Day at Amboy, also PTA meeting at Amboy, and yesterday I had the opportunity to drop off. I just kind of got it in my spirit to do it the last minute because I do stuff sometimes like that, but I was able to collect like several $100s like at the last minute, and I went shopping and bought a bunch of toys, non-perishables, so that children can have like little snack bags over the Christmas break in the event that they may need some extra support at home. Over the Christmas break, I was able to drop those off at Amboy yesterday, and I'm actually still getting more funds, so I'm have some more kids to buy some stuff for, and I'm hoping to maybe take some things over and spread it out through the other elementary schools. Also, Boone Park Luncheon has been on the agenda, was on the agenda, and then the Winter Wonderland, which was really great. I didn't know, I just have been enjoying the hot chocolate and still coming by to get some. And also the first security dinner.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I really appreciate the thought that the North Rock School Board, everybody got 50 hours. So we got an award. We have more than that because, like me, I have like 700 hours. But we got people on here. It gives us grace to know that we are trying to learn and do things and follow all of the LEARNS Act that's out there. And the meeting was tremendous. Everybody gave us good input and things that we could do to help make our district what it should be. And I'm just so proud of the Winter Wonderland, all the human resource, everybody, the blue carpet coming in here, the brown chocolate with the mushrooms. You all did it.
That was
Jacob
marshmallows.
Smith.
Marshmallows. We don't do mushrooms, marshmallows.
And by the way, compliments to Boone Park and the Ambassadors Academy and Mrs. Miller. She was responsible for the door decoration. 3 of us did go. We don't know who won the door decoration, but it was phenomenal in that they engaged the students at the academy. And academics is going on at the academy. It is not a babysitting situation. They are actually involving students, and they are doing things, and it was most impressive. And I want to tell Miss Dennis, who's over the food service, that's her name, she is off the chain. She is really taking advantage of the North Rock. If you read the Times where it said smoking in school, but when you saw that, they were talking about putting that pork in the smoker, and they gave us a 5-page run in the Arkansas Times, and you need to read it, that our students are really eating well. And thank you. If she was here, I would tell her how proud we are of her. And also that teachers, we learned to give you more board. We hear you, give you a voice that we are listening. And when we listen, talk, and no action, it's dead. And so we are coming in as a very positive board to do whatever it is to make this district what it should be. And thank you. And I went wherever he went, we went, okay? Thank you. Dr. P?
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of our board, I'll go very quickly. On November the 28th, we had our School Safety Task Force, which is a new group of individuals that represent different factions within our community as we talk about ways to make our school safe and share information, as safety sometimes issues going on in the community flow over into our schools. We talked about our luncheon on November 28th at the Academy. On the 30th, I attended the instructional rounds at Boone Park. On the 1st, attended the Chamber FYI luncheon, and the the Lakewood Choir sang Christmas carols to them. We do that annually. It's one of the things the mayor always asks for, so it was a great showcase to Lakewood Elementary School. I want to give recognition to our local North Little Rock Rotary. This year was on December the 2nd. This is the 25th year that they've supported I Like Me. This is where we give every single kindergartner within our school district a personalized book that they can take home. In some cases, this is the only book that's in their house. So I want to reach out to and recognize our local Rotary for all of their support. Our parent advisory was on the 2nd, great dialogue and communication. Also on the 2nd was our teacher advisory. I've been meeting twice a month with our teacher advisory. We've been tackling early release, and you'll see that we just released some changes for second semester based upon our teacher feedback. Very proud about that. On the 2nd as well, that evening was the first ever entrepreneurial pitch night in which students had to pitch their business to the community. It was a fabulous event. On the 7th, instructional rounds at the 7th and 8th, we talked about the luncheon at Boone Park. Give it up for Kathy Hale and all of our school counselors for putting together our self-care fair. This is the 3rd year in a row that our school counselors under Ms. Hale's leadership, it's well attended and well thought out, Ms. Hale. Our student advisory, which we had this week, we're tackling cyberbullying and social media, which is a hot topic, not only among students, but adults as well. And then our last was the central office Winter Wonderland. A shout out to our human resources. This is the first time we've ever done this, and it was well attended by our community. And as Ms. Williams said, you know, sometimes with the students that we serve in our community, they would never have that opportunity to go and see Santa and Mrs. Claus. So I applaud our human resources department that came up with that idea. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, and thank you.
And it was
At this
marshmallows, not mushrooms, marshmallows.
At this time, we will officially have the Classified Personnel Policy Committee report.
We have a legislative update, but I know that Mr. Steele's 8.1 next is a legislative update.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
Mr. Steele, can you hear me?
So we'll give it a second.
Yes, I'm here.
Anything to add, Mr. Steele, on the legislative update?
Well, before the legislative update, I just wanted to say something that has not been mentioned in board member involvement.
Is he okay?
We have so far a very good boys basketball team, and our girls basketball team is
Mrs. Steele?
currently
It's because
defeated.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Although most of the games have been on the road.
Wow, okay.
They both are still doing very well. Also,
Mr. Steele, we
yes.
can't hear you. Mr. Steele, I think you're like dragging on our end. So if you're like talking at regular
Yes, ma'am.
speed, if you're talking at regular speed, we can't hear. It's like dragging really, really bad.
yes, I just wanted to respond because I didn't get a chance.
Are you through, Mrs. Steele?
it's tough.
Okay. We could go to the next item. Hannah?
Okay, can you hear me now?
So, Hunter, why don't you call him? So, just to let him know, Mr. Nannon, the delay.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, you want to move to the next agenda?
Yes.
What we'll do is,
CPPC.
once everything is clear, we'll come back. I don't know if Mr. Steele can hear us.
No, he's on mute
He's
right now.
on
We
mute.
go
Yeah, I
to
think
the
he's
next
trying
one.
to call him
Okay.
outside on a different line.
Okay, Classified Personnel Policy Committee.
I do not have a report.
Okay, then, thank you. Licensed personnel.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep, just go ahead and state your name.
I like that orange jacket. It's sharp.
Is already on?
Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Akila Barksdale, co-chairman of the LPPC committee. I am here to document November's minutes. Our first item of action was the retention stipend cutoff and payment dates. And we want to say we really do appreciate the district for getting us that payment earlier. Our second action was the eclipse day. I think the district has come to the decision to add an extra day at the end of the school year. Our third action was the dress code for licensed employees, and we have decided to take this action to the executive board at this time. Item 4, was the professional development dates. We were wanting to know if we could start professional development the last day of school. And so that item is still being discussed. Item 5 was the stipend committees. We have a stipend committee working for athletic and academic stipends. We are comparing the stipends to surrounding school districts, and we are still working on that at this time as well. And item 6 was staff inquiries. Some of our staff wanting to know if we could get paid bi-weekly rather than bi-monthly. And I think that is also still in discussion. We haven't come to a final decision. And item 7 was the calendar process for next year. Currently, we are looking to do a traditional calendar, being that the time difference, is very close. And a lot of people want to know ahead of time about vacation dates and things like that. And so we're still working on that traditional calendar, and that is all I have for you guys at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for the compliment. So you all in the December, you had the December 12th meeting, right?
Yes, ma'am, we have.
So you covered all of those things that you have 5 items that you had to cover with
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am, some of
Smith.
those we did recover.
Okay, and so those are things that you're gonna bring back to the board at the next meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for the compliment.
Thank you. Y'all have a great one.
You too. Have a great holiday.
All right.
Thank you.
At this time, informational items, Dr. Pulaski.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of our Board of Education, the first information item is 10.1, our elementary and secondary first quarter attendance and discipline data. And I will welcome my colleagues, Mrs. Amy Jordan, our Executive Director of Secondary School Performance, and Dr. Tracy Lightfoot, Executive Director of Elementary School Performance, and Ms. Kathy Hale, Student Data Information, School Counseling, and then some. Annually when we get to this point in the year, we always want to report on our discipline and our attendance data from really this is the first quarter, although we've just ended the first semester. So I know our executive directors and team are going to talk about some of the changes between first quarter and second quarter as we've ended it. So I'll turn it over to my colleagues.
Well, good evening. I'm our board president, Dr. Pulaski, and our members of the board. I'm Dr. Tracy Lightfoot.
I'm Amy Jordan.
I'm Kathy Hale.
And we will be presenting our first quarter attendance and discipline data. And the purpose of this presentation is to inform all of our stakeholders of our district of our first quarter attendance and our discipline data for 23-24 school year. We'd like to note at this time, before we proceed into the presentation, that there are some discrepancies in the data. But this year we have worked on calibration and entering all of our data electronically and accurately. First of all, we have our elementary attendance. And with our elementary attendance, as you look at our data chart here, we have seen some growth. There's some gains. In the gray bar, you will see that's our first quarter for this year. You can tell from the trend, from the 3-year trend, all of our elementary schools have really made some gains as far as recording or getting our children to school, and we're really working that we get them, winners get to school on time. So our PEPs have been joining the leadership team in planning. They do trackers, celebrations, making home visits to make sure that we're getting our children in school, and this data is reflective of that improvement.
And can we point out one thing on the bars at the bottom? You'll see that it says 2022, and then 2023, and then 2024. So academic years are reported according to the graduation year. So that's why you would see 2024, meaning this is the school year called 2024. So we just wanted to clarify that in case anyone was looking at the slide deck and you're like, we're not in 2024 yet, but this school year is called the 2024 school year.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right.
So the next slides will be the discipline for elementary schools. And what you will see here is where some of the discrepancy in the reporting will show. In the blue bars is our previous years. And it looks like it's very low compared to a real surge that you see in Meadow Park, Ridge Road, and 7th Street. True enough that the reporting for those fights, that reporting is accurate in the orange. However, we have been moving from paper-based reporting to electronic reporting. So from one year to the next, it shows that it's discrepant. So what you're really looking at in the orange is more of an accurate representation, and what we should see is something accurate as we're moving forward with that. A number of overall events. As you notice too, the same with the difference between the orange and the blue. But if you notice Amboy, Meadow Park and Ridge Road, and Boone Park, altogether, our elementary schools are reporting that there is an increase in discipline. We are finding more children are coming to us and to our district. We have socio-emotional needs that are at play, and we've really been working on our PBIS efforts so that we can do a positive look, because we have so many needs to be addressed. Ridge Road particularly has escalated in discipline infractions. They have had almost 50% turnover, new teachers, many of them novice. So that's reflective on why their discipline data is greatly increased. But also that what was reported last year, some of that is a paper-based, so that it is not probably as accurate as it would have been last year. So we'll be moving forward to make sure that we're consistent in that reporting. Disorderly conduct. And this is a place, and really in elementary schools, we've really been working with our principals and our assistant principals as far as accurate reporting and coding. Disorderly conduct is really not an area that you see a lot of incidences, because it's usually where the police are involved, and that's not the case. So that we're trying to clean that up, because it's really in disruptive behavior where that coding should take place. So that when we became aware of this, with this coding, then we're working with them, especially with our new APs. They really actually have been getting the new information, and so you will find that it is higher in those schools that there is a new AP at the school. Disruptive behavior is really where more of those incidences actually occur. And again, you see Ridge Road, Boone Park, Amboy is escalated.
Okay, we'll look at the secondary attendance first. Attendance here is for a 3-year trend from grade 6, the 7-8 campus, the high school, and the Center of Excellence. So you're seeing the same thing with those quarters named 22, 23, and 24, but this is all quarter 1 to quarter 1 to quarter 1. So we are looking at apples to apples. Of course, the first thing that you notice is that most of the campuses are moving in the right direction, but then we see a slip at the high school. So we'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide. And I also want to bring your attention to, these numbers, 91 to 93 to 93, 90 to 91 to 93. Our goal, as is Dr. Pelusi's goal, is 96%. That's one of the long-term goals that we've set for, I believe it's 2026. And what we really want to try to aim for this year is 95. Now, again, this is first quarter, so we're going to track this again this quarter to see if there was improvement across the grade bands. But we do have some campuses that are right where we want them to be or on track to get there. And then, of course, we've got the attendance there is a little bit different at the high school. So here it is by grade. We went ahead and broke this out for the high school to try to look for patterns. Where are we noticing that number be different? And this is where it gets a little bit complicated. Also, I was an English teacher, so I have to think hard about numbers and math and statistics. But I want you to think about cohorts of students. So when you look at the 9th grade, blue, orange, and gray, those are not the same students. They're 3 different cohorts of students. So across the page, you can track it by looking at the blue, then the orange, and then the gray, because that's the 3 years that they've moved through those grade bands. So we went back, Ms. Hale and I did, to take a look, because you see what stands out, which is grades 9 and 10. Why are those gray bars so much lower, dropping down to 91.84, 92.33? And we went back and looked at their attendance in grades 7 and 8, and they are almost identical. They are a group of students whose average attendance is right at 91, 92, even back into middle school. So that'd be a great research project. Probably some kind of dissertation is in there somewhere. We know that might have something to do with COVID. It might have something to do with, things that have happened just in that grade band in those cohorts. They're just different. And then additionally, you have the added factor of when a group graduates, which are high, if you'll take a look, then the overall average goes a little bit down if the groups below are not as good with their attendance. So we have put in place, as Dr. Lightfoot said, very similar practices, even at the secondary level. We're working on attendance and tardies daily. We have our PEPs as well engaged. We're also doing rewards for the students who are getting to school and to class on time. And of course, the older the students are, the more they're in charge of their own transportation or their own daily activities, sometimes the harder it is to get them to be there. But we do know that that's a focus area, and we're continually working toward those goals of 95 or higher. And then moving on into discipline. So I know it was a big ask last year that we take a look at our policy in regard to our fighting and in some of our behaviors that are very disruptive at the secondary level. And everyone at the secondary level wants to tell you thank you for the change in policy, because it has made a difference, and you can see it in the numbers. So the first quarter numbers at each campus were lower, minus the Center of Excellence, which of course stayed the same, also a very low number. But we are very thankful that the practice of having the students who might need a change of placement come before committee, and we have made an impact in the behavior of the students, as you can see by our discipline. Overall events, I did want you to see, however, despite the fact that there's a decrease in fights, there is an increase in overall events. I'm going to go a little bit through this in the few slides ahead to show you where those discrepancies fall and why these numbers are higher. So, for example, at 6th grade, and I held on to the numbers on the side of the slide because I could not retain numbers like that going slide to slide. So they went from 216 last year in their first quarter to 269 this year in the first quarter. And these are the primary reasons why these 3 areas: an increase in disorderly conduct, disruptive behavior, and refusal to follow rules. So those raw numbers show you the difference in those 2 years. At the 7th and 8th grade, again, you see the change in the number of incidents, but it's very easy to see where those happened. I will bring your attention, however, to refusal to follow rules. It's actually drastically decreased. So one of the things that we're focusing on at the secondary level is the behaviors that are classroom-based and classroom monitored, and those that are office-related that need to be sent to someone on the administrative team. And so that focus on how do we engage the students, how do we manage them in the classroom, shows that decrease. But you will see an increase in disruptive behavior, leaving designated area, and profanity gestures and tardies. Now, you and I both know that there were not 0 tardies last year at the middle school campus, 7, 8. So what I call this a good problem to have. Their attention was on other things. and that was not getting entered. Like we talked about earlier, it was probably just on paper and being handled that way. But now that we've seen a move toward what we are going to be able to control, and having the tardies is something that we are now looking at, means that's a good problem to have. Now that we've got some of the other behaviors controlled, the refusal to follow rules, we're working through that, and I can tell you that their tardies are down. You'll see when we do this next one, again in the future, you'll see a decrease in these as well. And then again with the high school, going from 497 to 631, you see some slight increases here in disorderly conduct and disruptive behavior, but again, look at the number of tardies that have been recorded. And the high school is doing the same thing. They're doing tardy sweeps. They're focused on keeping students in class. They and the middle school have both done a 15-15 rule. You can't leave class the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes unless it's an emergency. And so just keeping students in their location has really helped. And you'll see tardies almost of themselves has made the difference in those two reporting categories, or in the overall categories. And then COE incidents, they're a much smaller campus, and so of course their incidents are much smaller. But they have seen a decrease in each of those areas as well. And that concludes our presentation on that. What questions might you have for us?
Ms. Hale? I just sent you the person that does the data. When I was looking at this, I see the low numbers, but the enrollment of our schools to me reflects a big difference. Where I'm not looking at it as something atrocious. You know, I know like the 7th and 8th grade campus, how many students does it have?
It's 1,100.
Thank you.
1,100, just right at
okay.
it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and with that data, when you do it, what kind of percentages do you actually come up with? Is it flexible? Is it all right? Or is it norm for that? How many again, Ms. Jordan?
1,100 students attend the 7th and 8th grade campus.
1,100 students in that building and on the campus.
So this data I put together all this data, and that's what we were looking at. And I think what you're asking is that a normal amount? And that's why we've got the 3-year comparison in there so you can see how that's moving. Is that the question that you're asking?
Right. So, because with the enrollment, to me, that makes a difference in certain things. You know, the size of the school. Mm-hmm. And then when I look at Ridge Road, has about 500 and some students.
It's our largest elementary school.
The largest elementary school. Mm-hmm. That's why perhaps you have a higher ratio of discipline. It's not that the school is out of control. It's simply saying that because of the number of students in the building, perhaps you're going to have more issues.
And that's a fair
Ms. McLean, do you have a question?
Yes, on the first slides on attendance, you have 3 years going there. The graduation year 22, the graduation year 23, and the graduation year 24, which is this year. Then we switch to the discipline, and we're only getting 2 years. Are these 2 years like 2022 graduation year?
That would be first quarter of 22, first quarter. You're correct. Those bands then changed names. The naming of those changed. So that's last year's first quarter and the one we just completed.
Oh.
Right. The naming is different. That's what I'm saying. The naming on, let me give you another one. Let me find attendance. The naming here is by graduation year, and then on the discipline we did not name it the same way. You're correct, though.
So
that's actually
on the
this
discipline. We're just comparing last year.
We just did 2 years. Yes.
First quarter.
Mm-hmm. The focus was on the fights primarily, and then we went ahead and peeled out how the discipline looked overall. But yes, ma'am, it's only 2 reporting years: the first quarter that we just completed and last year's first quarter.
Okay. Another question is on some of, like on the 6th grade, we have 3 different areas: disorderly conduct, disruptive behavior, and refusal to follow rules. And then when we go to 7th and 8th, we have 5 there, I think.
Yes, ma'am. So those are their outlier data points. So they have other instances of all sorts. So, for example, this 6th grade campus does have tardies recorded. What I was trying to capture was why did the number change from 216 to 269? And I gave you the data points that were outliers. They were not matching the same way the others did. The others were more in check with the same as last year. These were the ones that had a drastic change. And so that's why I grabbed those for you on this slide. If you wanted the data points on all of them, we have them. We just were trying to be succinct. And then on like this slide, the reason I picked these 5 is these were the 5 that 4 of them increased tremendously, and then I wanted to highlight that one decreased tremendously. So these are just selected for the ones that changed it from 474 to 698.
So back to her question over here, if we had a percentage up there, it might be simpler, like when you're trying to just use numbers and say, well, there's 1,100 here and we had this number increase. If we had a percentage, it could be that even though there's a lot more numbers, the percentage would be the same with the smaller school.
So in that case, you
numbers.
would need to have the percentage of the enrollment as well, so you could see how
Right.
those go along.
Right. And the other instance here is, so let's take these 91 tardies. That's not necessarily 91 students. It could be 12 students who are routinely tardy. So it's also not exactly going to be one-to-one, right, on the number of students per number of incidents. Because
So
it
you
could
can
be
really
repeat.
dig deeper into
It
this.
absolutely could, yes. And we were trying to keep it where we could at least tell a story about how the discipline tracking has looked different this year than last.
And I would like to note that at the campus level, they do take it so they know who it is, that who are your repeaters of the 91, who are your repeaters, so that they can address those students and kind of can gauge, is this every now and again, are they frequent, or are these some of the ones that is reporting that data at the same students?
So who is it at the campus that's really looking at these things? I'm assuming you pull the data, Ms. Hale, or do
No,
they
ma'am.
pull
So-
the data on their campuses too? Or
Correct. They
Yes.
run their data.
And we're trying to build capacity in that. That's one of the areas that we noticed that we want to work on with this, is to encourage our leaders to do more of this, and that I can do some more training with them so that they can dig deeper into their data.
And they do. You know how we have response to intervention for academics? We also have it for behavior. So when we see a pattern or a repeated behavior in a student, they're coming to a committee at the building level. The leadership teams are looking at students who might be chronically tardy, or they've had disruptive behavior multiple times. And so then we address those students as a response to intervention on behavior as well.
so how many different areas are there that you can look at? I know we got 3 on the 6th grade and 5. How
Right.
many?
So inside
different-
the data, there are, like for example, I can get
Yeah.
you copies of this if you want it. There are dozens. There are dozens of ways that you can. All the infractions that are in our handbook are all different codes.
That's right.
So
Okay,
each of
one
those
is a
rules
different
is a
code.
different infraction. That's why your spreadsheet, your slide here only had 3 or 4 or 5, just to kind of give you the story of why the numbers were different.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Tell me the difference between disorderly conduct and disruptive behavior.
Sure. So disruptive behavior means something about the child's behavior has disrupted the school day. Disorderly conduct is more severe. And as Dr. Lightfoot kind of addressed in the beginning, it might involve the SRO, the school resource officer, or something that has to do with the police. And as we evaluated this data, we determined probably in several places it's been miscoded. They're selecting disorderly when they mean disruptive. And so we're trying to work through that, make sure that we're calibrating at each campus that we have that correct.
So to clarify, I'm hearing that we did not have to involve the SROs 66 times this year.
Correct.
That is correct.
Thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
Also, when they do code those, if the police are involved, it's an extra coding, so we can present on that data as well. So that definitely not that number.
Okay, Dr. Reddish?
Just for clarity, you don't see the academy. The academy is a part of the high school.
That is correct.
No,
would be-
actually.
Oh, do you have
it's-
that one separate?
It's spread across all of the campus. So the
Well,
6th
yes.
graders would be reported in the 6th grade campus.
Correct.
The 7th, 8th grade would be reported in 7th, 8th grade, because they do not have their own LEA. So they go back to their home school. So all of those secondary schools, with the exception of the COE, would have academy students in that. But yes, I can pull that data separate. It is not here.
Okay, Ms. Temple?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Ms. West?
I don't necessarily have any questions. I guess I do. I guess this is a question, but I would like to see too, and I can't remember who said that, but percentage-wise, what would it look like as far as the percentage-wise on, especially like the attendance and the discipline? Like
Okay.
the general discipline slides as far as elementary and secondary. I would like to see like percentage components of it.
Meaning the percentage of the student body
Yes.
that had those infractions?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Are there other questions from board members? Any questions? Okay, we would like to say thank you for
Great
the report.
presentation. Thank you.
And the only thing that you'll have to bring back to us is percentages, elementary and secondary. And thank you, Ms. Hale, for your
Thank you.
technology skills. Thank you.
Number crunching
right.
skills.
Madam President, the next information item is 10.2, North Little Rock High School and the Center of Excellence. These will be 2024, 2025 course requests, updates, or changes. You know, we're at that time of the year as we're beginning to think about the following school year and any changes that we have to make to the course guide, graduation requirements. So there is a host, and I know you've read all these, but I do want to welcome back Mrs. Jordan, our Executive Director of Secondary School Performance, and Dr. Nadia St. Louis, the principal of North Little Rock High School, to go over some proposed changes for this next upcoming academic year.
Madam President and members of the board, Dr. Paluski, thank you for having us here to present. Ms. Wisnan is unable to be here tonight, so I'm sitting in her spot. And Dr. St. Louis will kick us off from there.
Madam President, school board members, Dr. Paluski, thank you so much for having me here this evening to talk about our proposed changes for the upcoming school year and years thereafter. The purpose of this presentation is to share our proposed changes for both the high school and the Center of Excellence. So the first proposal is we would like to, starting with this senior class, the class of 2024, we would like to return to identifying a valedictorian and a salutatorian for both the high school and the COE. For a total of 4 students that would be recognized at graduation. Our current practice is that students in the top 1% are recognized and have a speaking part during the ceremony. So we would like to now go to Val and Sal for both the high school and COE. Our second proposal is that the class of 2026, which is our current sophomores, would return to having a full schedule, which would be 8 classes. Right now, our seniors have the option to have a modified schedule, and that came about during COVID. But we would like to offer more opportunities in regards to JAG, internship, work-based learning opportunities for our students to be able to work and have a more flexible schedule. But we don't want them to just have 2 classes a day. We want to be able to have a more robust offering for our students and also be able to utilize the alternative hybrid program that's offered through our ALE. We'd like to now extend our graduating with honors, and so we have proposed, again, this is for our current sophomores, so some of these proposals do not impact our seniors or our juniors. This would be for our sophomore class and everybody thereafter, but we would like to go to 3 tiers for graduating with honors. So the first tier you can see there, students who graduate with honors would have to pass 2 AP courses or a concurrent course. They have to have 28 credits, a 3.5 GPA, and also meet all other graduation requirements. Then the next tier would be high honors. So graduating with high honors, they would have to pass 4 AP classes. They would have to have 28 credits and a 3.75 GPA. And then last is the honors with distinction, which would be the highest honors, would be students who pass 6 AP classes. They have 28 credits and a 4.0 GPA. Right now, our current policy is we just have honor graduates. They have to have a 3.5 and meet the graduation requirements and also have their volunteer community service hours in order to be honors graduates. So we want to expand that and have that rigor and be able to recognize students for their achievement on multiple levels. And then these are some new requirements that came about through the LEARN Act. So we do have the community service requirement for our students. And so with our class of 2027, so that is our current 9th graders, they will be required to have a total of 75 community service hours before they graduate. The state has guidelines on some proposed number of hours each student should have each year. So I believe like their ninth grade year is 15, but at the end of the day, they just have to have 75 before they graduate from high school. We've also, as a state, have gone to the career ready pathway. And so we'd like to put in our course guide for students to be CT completers, which means they would take all 3 levels of their CT pathway classes.
Okay, for the Center of Excellence, they have 3 course additions that they would like to make to their course guide. That includes veterinary science. That's the level 2 course inside that academy pathway. They would like to add French and American Sign Language. And that's it for COE.
All right, for the high school, we do have quite a few things we're wanting to add to our course guide. Our first is next year will be our 3rd year implementing career academies, and so we do need to add the next classes that go into our pathways. And so you can see here, these are all the level 2 classes. So currently all of our sophomores are in their level 1 class. As a junior, they'll be in their level 2, and as a senior, they'll be in their level 3. So these are the level 2 classes we need to expand for all of our academies. And I don't know if you need to read those. Okay. Foreign language, we'd like to offer German, American Sign Language, Spanish for heritage and native speakers, and French. We do want to be able to offer more foreign languages to our students and be able to have them, broadening their perspectives and their skills. We'd also like to add AVID, which is Advancement via Individual Determination. I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for our students in terms of that college readiness. And so on the next slide, you can see information regarding AVID, why AVID is important. This would be an elective course for our students. They would receive a credit. We'd also like to add earth science, fine arts as a concurrent course, physical science as a concurrent course, and data science. We'd also like to continue our partnership with UAPTC with advanced manufacturing as a course. We'd like to do AP pre-calculus. Right now we just have pre-calculus. We'd like it to be AP. And then we'd like to have the Foundations of Law Enforcement, which is the 2nd class after for our criminal justice pathway. And you can see here the justifications of adding some of these additional courses. And then this slide here goes over what AVID is. In terms of why we feel like it will be beneficial for the high school. Right now we are doing career academies, and we want to be able to balance that out with a very focused college ready program. This is for students who are 1st generation college goers. That is the focus. There is an application process that we have to have in terms of doing AVID, and so this is a national model. And so if you all have any questions, please let me know. We are removing 3 courses. One is Intro to Painting, because the course code no longer exists. The same for Intro to Sculpture, and then Fashion and Interior Design, because that is no longer a pathway class. What questions might you all have for me? I believe that was the last slide.
Starting with me. I love everything you've presented tonight. I love the way that you put in the justifications, and I also like the way that you put how things are currently, so that we can see what the change is going to be there. So all the justifications, it was very self-explanatory when I went through this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very good report. Thank you.
I have one. Under the new requirements, I see beginning 2026, which would be our sophomores, have to have the 75 hours.
No, so 2026-27 class. So that would be our freshmen. This is the graduating 2027 class.
So the 2024 and 2025
and 2026, they are not under this current new law.
So they don't have to have the 75 hours for graduation,
unless they're doing for graduation with honors. So remember, we're doing changing the honors requirement to the sophomore class. So our current juniors and seniors, if they want to graduate with honors, they will have to have those community service hours.
Just 75. Okay, got it.
Ms. Temple?
I was wondering, what did the student feedback on the honor changes? Was that something they approached you guys about? How did this come about?
This came about through conversations between just myself, the counselors, COE, wanting to be able to have, I'm really big on rigor and being able to, we're seeing different other districts, and this is stuff that they are also doing. We're kind of a little bit behind when it comes to recognizing the different tiers for our students, and so we looked up all the different districts here in Central Arkansas, some of my knowledge coming from out of state, and like I said, working with our counseling team, assistant principals, high school COE, we all worked together the last year to talk about changing that up. And we also wanted to really incorporate AP classes. We want to encourage our young students and scholars to be more in our advanced placement and concurrent classes.
Okay. My next one, when you said you wanted a full schedule, say an 8-hour, are they losing their flex period? How are you making that change? What's happening?
So currently right now, like for the class of 2024, students have to have a minimum of 4 classes, whereas every other grade has to have 8 classes on their schedule and a flex. And so with the proposed change, we'd like to go to everyone has 8 classes.
And they would still have flex.
Okay. Okay. And then if they're a senior and they have 24 hours, do they have to have 8 that year, or can they just do 4 their senior year?
Everybody would have 8 classes. Now they have the opportunity to do internship. They can do work-based learning. They're not tied to having to come to school for 8 classes, but they will have 8 classes on their schedule. We also are encouraging students that, if they feel like I just cannot do 8 classes, we do have a hybrid opportunity for our students, and that is through our ALE, some of our options through our ALE program.
All right. And then the CTE completer, can you explain that a little bit further to me? Because I'm not sure I completely understood that.
Yeah, so with the career readiness through the LEARNs, as well as with the career academies with both the high school and COE, students, in order to get their completer status, need to finish all 3 levels of a pathway. So if Nadia was in the high school and I was in the pre-educator pathway, I would need to take pre-educator level 1, level 2, and level 3. So that's my sophomore, junior, and senior year to be a completer. And so that will be for any student that's on our campus, high school, and COE, to be completers within their pathway.
So
And go ahead. I was just going to say there's also a move for that to potentially become part of our ESSA scoring, so that students who complete those pathways and do all 3 courses, 1 in sophomore year, 1 in junior year, 1 in senior year, are going to benefit our ultimate letter grade. So there's talk of that also being a component of that new, they're going to revamp that system.
Okay.
So that may be a piece of it.
All right. So does that give me any opportunity to change my mind? Because,
They do.
I
You can
took
change
one
your,
and-
yes, you can change your pathway. You still have to be a completer, so some of our students will have to double up. But we ask all of our students to complete at least 1 year of their pathway to see how they like it before they've changed their mind. And so far, with us starting to go into the career academies, we haven't had many students who've like, I just want to come out of my pathway, because they're enjoying the opportunity and just the exposure to different things going on in that field. But they can change their pathway, but they do have to still be a completer.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ms. West?
I was wanting to know, how do they, as far as the community service hours, is there like a form that they need to get and they need to keep track of that themselves, or are they inputting this into like the Google Classroom, or how is this determined that, because I do receive phone calls about, from parents wanting to know, how do they work on getting community service hours.
Yes, and I really appreciate our counselor, specifically Ms. Leger. She put together a PowerPoint for our current ninth graders to understand our community service. We push it out to our parents, but there is a spreadsheet. Students are required to keep up with their hours, and so we encourage them to, start documenting, putting that in their Google folder, things of that nature. And I believe through their freshman seminar classes and their flex classes, their flex support, teachers can help them keep up with their community service hours. I think the biggest thing right now is just helping our students understand where they can get their community service hours, as well as when parents and students have additional places they want to add, what that process is. So we're trying to make sure we have all that information to share with our families.
So it's not like a pre-approved list that they have to choose from?
There are some pre-approved lists that the state had originally, and this was before the LEARNS Act, but because now they have taken the community service down to the district level, we have a little bit more flexibility. So we want to expand on the list that the state had.
Okay. And then also the veterinary and science component. I am so happy to see that, and I'm happy to see that that is some kind of way a component of the school district, because, I just know for example, there's a shortage of veterinarians now, and I think that will definitely give, and I know a lot of kids love animals, and a lot of kids love the science component, and that will give them an extra avenue or a exposure to that. And I'm all about exposing kids early, and to the good things. Let's be clear of the exposure. But I am, I love to be able to expose children to the educational component of that a lot earlier, and I think that'll be a great deal, and it'll help them when they go to college to make better decisions and choices what they want to do.
Yes, and I was excited that we had about 10 to 12 of our students, both high school and COE, who went to UAPB, and they got to see some of their vet science program. And the students were just astonished and blown away with the offerings there. And with all of our career pathways, we're sending kids out to different fields. We took them to Fox News and all different places that align to their pathway, because again, we want them to see what are opportunities when they graduate high school.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great report.
Dr. St. Louis and your staff, I'm so grateful that you said that this will meet the needs of students who would never have had an opportunity if they're college ready to go
You're talking about for the AVID?
And you're talking about sign language and French. When we gonna get a national merit students, in the newspaper like everybody else?
As long as I'm here, we're going to have somebody. We're going to have somebody.
With the things and I appreciate you, if there's no vision, the people perish. And if you all are this visionaries in that one extra 8 hours, I believe it can happen. Because perhaps so many students are being denied because, as you say, they were not equipped to be college ready. But I certainly want to thank you and your staff for what you're doing, and when you come back, the board would have had a chance to look at all of this and maybe have some other suggestions. But I know you will, because you can. And again, thank you for the report, Ms. Jordan, and to you, Dr. St. Louis. Are there any questions you'd like to ask the board?
Mr. Steele has a question.
I think Mr. Steele has a question.
Oh, Mr. Steele.
I would just like to ask Dr. St. Louis, what is it that you would need at the high school? What is something that you feel that you could use? Or am I putting you on the spot? Or what do you, talk to us?
I'd like to start my holiday break on a positive note. And so there are things I do believe the high school needs. I've been speaking with Ms. Jordan on some of those things in terms of just kind of being on the same page, and there's just some barriers we're trying to address, and so I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't really feel like this might be the avenue to share that. But I do want to just add, in terms of a national merit or any of our students and having that recognition, the biggest thing is making sure our students are coming back to our school. We've got to continue to offer these robust opportunities for our students, focus on that high academic achievement and rigor, reducing the discipline in our school so we can have students come back to come back to our school. And we have a diverse student body. And so that's been my priority, is making North Little Rock High School a place that every student wants to be.
What was the question?
Very well said. Did you have a question, Doctor?
I did. Just this is from Mr. Steele. He said, great presentation. What would it take to, this is more of a procedural thing, I think, for graduation. What would it take to allow the principal and superintendent to present diplomas at graduation with board members still having the opportunity to present it for certain students? I know in my past, it's always been, the principal hands out the diploma with the superintendent. And I know maybe that's been a tradition here for school board members, but
we have that graduation handbook that we worked on for this year, and so if that's something we need to consider, we can have that discussion.
Yeah.
And I believe we have a meeting in January to discuss
And graduation, since Mr. Steele brought it up, you want to do a small commercial for
graduation for the class of 2024 is May the 28th. We'll be continuing at Euler as we did last year. We have moved graduation up to 6 o'clock in the evening time, and so we're looking forward to our current seniors and that wonderful day.
And will there be specific tickets?
Yes, there will be tickets. I believe we're going to continue with the 8. We might be able to add some addition, but we like to kind of stay on the safe side. Last year we started with 6, and then we went up to 8. So we might be able to do 9 or 10, but our base right now is 8 per student.
A part of their academic is always, in anybody in school, the most fun thing they have in their life is always the prom, at the end of the year. And this is academics in a sense. There used to be a tremendous gathering of parents and community coming together when we used to go to Lakewood Village. And I think maybe if you took a survey of your student body or your parents, but those that I've been to in the last few years when it's been inside the building, it's not a great participation.
Is this the march?
The march. The
Oh,
main
okay.
march. And I think that if you would, that was so beautiful and so awesome, the community coming together, but we've lost the community because now we're in the auditorium and people are just coming to see their parents. But the beauty of it was when everybody just sat out there and watched everybody. And so please have that in one of you, when you meet with your staff, to something to done. And the student body, they make the difference. Let them have a voice if they want it, they don't. But I can remember it was always so awesome, and Mr. Noble would do it all the time. And he was so articulate, and parents would just be happy, happy, happy.
And it's such
So
a blessing
that's it.
he's
We can
here
make 'em happy
tonight,
again, okay?
going to help us with that.
Thank you.
And I do want to just add, we're always open to those suggestions. I'm always going to put a plug in here. We always need volunteers at the high school for things like that. We're trying to make sure we are ready academically, and so those other pieces, we're always willing to work with our volunteers, our PTSA, on making those things happen too. So anybody wants to come support that, I am all for us bringing that back.
And thank you. Well, if there are no further questions, thank you for
Thank you
a
so much.
marvelous
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
presentation, okay? Thank you, Dr. P.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of our Board of Education, our next information item is 10.3, and that is the state of student athlete development and academic engagement. And I do want to welcome Coach Balan, our Director of Student Athlete Development and Academic Engagement. And since Coach has started, he has hit the ground running. And one of the first things that Dr. Hooper and I charged him with is his own 100-day transition plan. And at some point, which is going to be tonight, to give us a current state of what's working and where he envisions us moving in the future. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I start, I think it's worth recognizing we have some coaches that have been here for a couple hours. Thanks for staying, guys. Some families, parents, and I think that speaks volumes. Former coaches, that this how important athletics is to them. So thank you for staying around and being here to support. So
And your wife.
and my wife, yeah, and I'm getting to that. So
Okay.
before we jump into this, I did want to, I just want to thank all of you guys, because the support that I've gotten since July 24th when I took this job has honestly been unreal. This is, I would say this is my dream job. And so to get it when I did, I wasn't expecting that. I just moved into administration, was loving that. Dr. St. Louis was great. I was learning, and then this came up and kind of came out of nowhere. And, you know, I was like, you know, how do I have a chance? Talked to a few people and thought, let me throw my name in the hat and see what happens. And from Dr. Paluski, Dr. Hooper, who's my immediate supervisor, the board, everyone has been unreal with the support. So thank you, everyone, Dr. St. Louis, Ms. Hampton. It's just been nothing but great since we've gotten started. So I want to start with that. I also want to give a special thanks to Rachel's here. She's in our office. Melinda is with her family, but those ladies are holding it together. And so I think they deserve a round of applause. So. My wife, Megan, most of you know her, and my kids, they're making a sacrifice for me to be able to do my dream job. And so I could not thank her for allowing me to do this. And so, real quick, I'm going to do some brags. So I want to give you guys an update on this first semester. Here's some things that have happened in the athletic world. Coach Sella with the cheer team, they just had their 10th year in a row with a top 3 finish in state. That's unbelievable. Never heard of that. Coach Fimple's undefeated, just got his 600th win. Wow. Coach McCoy, undefeated with 9th grade girls. They just played in the finals in our tournament. I don't know how they did, but they won. All right, Coach Bailey, our 9th grade boys coach, they're in the finals playing right now, doing big things. Coach Beard, our new coach, graduate from here, he's turned that middle school program around. They've only got one loss. It was an OT, and I think they got robbed. Coach Clutcher, Coach Boss, our soccer coaches, Coach Dillon's here, our baseball coach, Coach Magmahan. Those guys are all getting up in the mornings with their athletes. They're in the gym before some of us are even up. So, I mean, it's unreal what they're doing. Coach Ridgel at the middle school, our 8th grade team beat Bryant in football. I mean, hello. Coach Joshua is leading the charge with all of our middle school coaches, and they're going to start after the new year of 7th grade. 8th grade, they're going to be coming over to the high school some to do some workouts. She's coordinating that, so we're super excited about that. Coach Claiborne's undefeated in the state. I believe they're ranked 4th in the state. The girls are number 1 right now. Yep. Coach Brown at the middle school cross country, they had multiple first-place finishes. They had 2 boys that were 1st and 2nd in almost every race. Coach Reynolds with swimming, we've already got kids that have qualified for state. They're 1st in almost everything they're doing. Coach Kilberry with golf, we had an all-conference golfer. There was only 7 in the whole conference. One of them was ours. Coach Reed, we had 2 football kids, all-state, multiple all-conference kids. Coach Hendershot with wrestling's already winning meets. Coach Walker with dance, took those girls to the parade, showed out, did amazing. Coach Arnold's here. We recognize them today. They won about everything you could win. I got a couple more here. Coach Taylor with middle school cheer. Those girls are super talented. If you hadn't seen them, they're going to be fun, and just keep it rolling for our cheer team. And then, even though they're not under our umbrella, Mr. Noble, Miss McGriff have almost 50 girls doing dance at the middle school. So those are all things just this semester. All right, so I want to get started on this, and I'm going to try to go. I'm not going to try to take up too much time. However, I have been working on this since the first day on the job, and so I'm going to try to hurry. Dr. Hooper, I'm going to do the best I can. All right, here we go. So the purpose is just to provide information that relates to athletics. In my 17 years in this district, I don't know that we've ever done this. Y'all might correct me. So thank you for this opportunity. From all the athletes, the parents, the coaches, thank you for hearing us. So topics we're going to talk about is, like Dr. P said, the first 100 days, kind of what this job looked like, what it's looking like. What's working, what are some areas of growth, some short-term goals. We got a breakdown of what we look like compared to other people in our conference. There's going to be a lot of data coming at you, and then some recommendations that I think is going to move us forward. So the rationale for it is just to get that in-depth analysis, to provide comparison data to surrounding districts, to make some recommendations that's going to improve the culture in the athletic department, ultimately increase enrollment and participation, and then provide our coaches and our student athletes an even playing field. So that's why I'm here. So in the first 100 days, these are some things that we did. We hit the ground running. I had one-on-ones with every single coach in our district. We spent time together. We took notes. We talked about things. We relocated staff immediately. We had to hire some staff, working quite a bit with the HR department on our contract days and seeing how quickly we can fix some of that, advocating for coaches' schedules, facility usages, making plans for all programs to relocate when we had that extreme heat. Meet with the middle school coaches regularly. We have meetings once a month, meet with the middle school coaches, and then the next day meet with the high school coaches. That's a new thing, and it's going great. I think the coaches are enjoying that. I have had the opportunity to assist with supervision at the middle school when needed. Dr. Hooper will call me if we're a little shorthanded or something, and I'm always quick to go over there. Attended games about every single night. You can find me at some game or some event, communicating, of course, with game officials. And we have officially bid to host a state tournament here at North Little Rock. So that's exciting. And we won't know till January 11th, but the gentleman's agreement is that we have it. So we've already started making plans for that. We've formed committees. We've had 2 meetings, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've got about 23 members of the community that have already signed up and are already working. So we're rolling already for that. Coordinating and holding regular meetings. We created Google Classroom for communication because that was one thing I heard was the communication, so we're trying to fix that. I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of different community members, held a lot of parent meetings. We inventoried and ordered a lot of new uniforms. We hired a new 9th grade cheer coach because we didn't have a team. We have a team and we have a coach. Dragonfly, that's our eligibility system. Every single day we're checking that. Rachel has kind of taken that bull by the horns, and that's a big one. And she's doing a great job helping me with that. Met with a lot of different families, find out why some of them have left. And we've had a lot of them. I'm proud to say several have returned. And I'm getting a lot of calls about, hey, if we move in, are we eligible? How does that work? And that's encouraging. And I think that's a testament to what our coaches and what our kids are doing and the support that you guys are showing. Our handbook hadn't been touched that I know of in years. So we've been working on that. Met with the counselors, discussed the NCAA eligibility, make sure our kids understand that process if that's something that they're interested in doing. Communicate with athletic directors every day around the state. Of course, we did the one-on-ones. I've attended as many athletic director trainings as I can get to so I can learn. We did host a District 5 athletic meeting, so that was pretty cool. We did that in the auditorium. Coach Clutcher was a huge help with that. I'm working on creating a new coaches evaluation system, because that, again, is something that's kind of outdated. And so we're looking at changing that so we get a true picture of how our coaches are doing each year. Personally, I'd like to get rid of my CDL, but I can't because we don't have enough coaches that have them. So I'm driving the games a lot of times. Ms. Taylor runs our SIP, and I communicate with her regularly on that. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Sergeant Kimbrough with security. We talk almost every day. I did have the opportunity to meet or go to the pep rallies at the middle school to support those kids and those coaches. So I was proud to be there for that. So SIP, Dr. P asked me to kind of talk a little bit about this. So what this is any student that's in 10th through 12th grade that wants to participate in athletics has to have a 2.0. However, if you don't, then you can go into SIP, which is Supplemental Improvement Program. And it's like a tutoring system. And Ms. Taylor's over it. And so they meet on Mondays after school, and then she offers it again Wednesdays before school. And she works with them. She coordinates with the teachers. I'm happy to say we only had 10 kids this semester. So all the kids that want to participate, we only had that did, and there was only 10 kids total that didn't have a 2.0. So I did want to point that out because that's a testament again to our student athletes taking care of business in the classroom. And you'll see that here in a minute as well. So that just kind of tells you some more information there. But in order to stay in SIP, you have to improve at least 0.1. So if you have a 1.5, this semester, those 10 kids we're going to check. If they have a 1.6 or better, they can stay in. You can do that 2 consecutive semesters. If they get to 2.0, then they're free. They go, and they don't have to keep going. And Ms. Taylor does a great job with that, communicating with the AAA. So I just wanted to kind of explain that if you didn't know what it was. A couple more things. So we've done the passes. We did the cheer tryouts, the workshops, going to the bank. Thank goodness for those ladies. I don't do that as much anymore. We created a grade behavior check form. I'll show that to you in a minute. I hope everybody in here has gotten on our social media pages. I think most everybody has. That's new. That's kind of taken off. I think I checked before, we're up over 500 or 600. I don't know. So it's spreading. And so I want everybody, this is the plug for join the NLR Athletics, Facebook, Instagram. And so coordinate with the athletic trainer about just safety and everything like that. So those are all kind of things we've done. Wildcat Foundation, Ticket Spigot. I could go on and on. I want to point out the second to last thing right there. I'm excited to announce that we're going to have a Wildcat store in the arena, kind of like Wildcat City. So we found a room in the arena that we've been working on. Mr. Bradley's been working diligently to clean that out. We're going to have gear in there to sell, and so it's going to probably start out small with the hope that it grows. It was an overwhelming response. They love that Wildcat City. They just like having the door back open and being able to buy some things, and it's been years. So we heard them, and so we're going to be able to open that back up. The hospitality room is being completely revamped. It's been painted, new refrigerator, new ice machine. The cabinets have been redone. They're working on the floor. Geek Squad from Best Buy is donating some TVs. That room's going to look awesome when it's time for state tournament. So we're excited about that. Everybody's been working hard to get that ready. So next time you go down there, check it out, and it's going to look like a different place. It's not a storage room anymore. I'm going to skip through these because I want to get to the good stuff. So what's working? I think our communication with our coaches and our parents has improved. Our monthly in-person coaches meetings is working. Our Google Classroom, our emails, just that communication. Our coaches are having parent meetings with their programs, and that's huge, getting that information out. Our enrollment in the middle school athletic programs has increased. Coach Ridgel with that football team, I don't know what he did, but he got a bunch of kids playing, and they were good. And so I was super excited about that. Proud to announce that the middle school volleyball, all the volleyball kids and basketball, boys and girls, got new uniforms, and I don't know when they got some, but it's been a while. So they got brand new stuff, and it's not hand-me-downs, and they were super excited about that. If you hadn't seen the new floor in the arena, you need to check it out. It's amazing. I didn't have anything to do with it, but I'm glad that it's done. We cleaned the exterior of the arena, and it needed to be done, but it looks nice and clean. We put locker room clocks in the locker rooms. That's been needing to do since the day that place was built. We got new chairs coming. We bid for the state tournament, communicating with our teachers. We've put the weekly schedule of events out. I'm sure you've seen those. We do their weekly grade checks, and then we got the AC is underway. So those are all things that are working. You can see it's just a picture of the clock. We got the, I don't know if you were here for the football, but we partnered with the Canes. That was really cool. And that kid kicked that thing 50 yards, I think. But he's eating chicken every day for a year. We've got, and I put this quote because I think it's important, but it came out on National Coaches Day. But, I mean, it says, a good coach can change a game, but a great coach can change a life. And I think a teacher, a mentor, I mean, I think it goes, but I think coaches for a lot of our kids, this is serious, and this is very powerful. So I wanted to put that in there. I don't know if you know, but I mean, just looking at these pictures, FCA is back. It's student-led. If they want to come, they can come. I mean, these are our turnouts. This is before school, 7:30 in the morning. These kids are showing up. Coach Brown at the middle school's kind of coordinated it. And, I mean, they can come. It's for anybody. It's not just athletes, but they're the ones that are bringing their friends. I mean, just look at those pictures. The two on the left are middle school. That see at the pole, I don't know how many kids were here, but there was hundreds of kids out there, and it was awesome. We took a bus full of kids to Fields of Faith at Sylvan Hills, and that was really cool to see them there. So those are things that are back in our district, and it's completely voluntary. It's not run by our district, but I wanted to recognize those kids that are for coming. So on here, this form here on the left is the high school grade check form. On the right's the middle school. And it's different because of their periods. But you'll see the kids will take these to their teachers, and it's a place for them to check each week. How are you doing? Check your grade. Get a chance to put a comment on behavior. The teacher signs it. And then you'll notice at the bottom, the parent signs it, and then it goes to the coach. And so we can keep up with how we're doing. There's no excuses. Some parents don't have access to hack or don't know how to do it. This is kind of their hard copy hack each week. And so some of our coaches have really taken off with that. I'd like to point out the picture in the middle. That young lady just signed with Henderson State to play volleyball. She's going to go there. Her school's going to be paid for. I missed Jocelyn, but basketball, same thing for her. She's going to go play basketball in college, and she's going to get to go there thanks to her athletic abilities. And she's smart, too, but it's really helping. So those are things I wanted to point out there. We're super proud of them. Some more things that are working, our schedules we're putting out, our social media, like we talked about. I don't know if you're seeing these, but we're doing this Coaches Spotlight. Each week we pick a coach. We interview them. Actually, it's a Google form they interview, and then they turn it in. And then Rachel is turning these things into what's coming out so you guys get to see. It's been an awesome reception from that. It's actually my wife's idea. She came up with it, so I'm going to give her the credit for that. And Rachel's put the vision into action. So it's just a beautiful thing, and those coaches have really seemed to appreciate it.
Yay for the women.
Yeah, yes. They're the brains. You know, I'm not the smartest, but I do know you find people that are good at stuff. And and then, you know, like, again, that's just a picture of the schedule that's coming out. What's going on, a snapshot each week. There's been a lot of, especially administrators have said they really enjoy that. So we're going to keep that up. Here's another kind of example of some different things. The middle there, pretty excited about that. The first 9 weeks, our overall GPA for our athletes was a 3.4. Hello? We had 12 teams that had 3.5 or higher. So you can't tell me our athletes aren't getting it done. This here I'm very proud of. This we just opened this last week. This is our Student Athlete Eligibility Center. We took an old piece of furniture. Rachel and Melinda cleaned it up and painted it. And
Yay, Rachel.
with the help of Miss Gwen at the high school, we started getting stuff that these kids need. You want to go to college? Here's what you need. You need loans? Here's how you get it. You don't think you want to go to college? You want to trade? We got all that information. We got military stuff, and we're just growing that. And so it's not just for athletes. It's for anybody. It's another place to come if you need help or you don't understand something. One of y'all had asked about the volunteer hours. We've got a section for that. It explains it. It's just another place to go in a different area of the school where you can come and get information if you need it. So super excited about that, and so I did want to point that out. Here is a breakdown of our team GPAs. So anything in green is a 3.5 or higher. Anything in yellow is a 3 to 3.5. And we had 5 reds that were super close that almost to being 3 points. So our overall average was a 3.0. The ones in red, it's not a knock. It's just we know, like football just has a whole lot more kids. Yeah. So it's just, I mean, you got a huge group of kids, but some of the ones like we got 3.96, 3.91, you know, girls basketball, 3.63. I mean, you can see there where we're at, but that just shows you what our kids are doing, not only on the court, on the fields, but in the classrooms. I'm excited to see what this semester grades are going to come out and see where we're going to be. So super excited about that. So some goals. Let's get. I think we need vertical alignment with our middle and high school, and we've started doing that. Met with the middle school, all the coaches. Next is going to be football. What are our plans for off season? What are our plans for bridging that gap between the middle school, the 9th grade, and the high school? What do we need? How do we get there? So we started that conversation. We started that with volleyball, like I said. They're now all going to be together a couple days a week, working as a whole group and supporting each other. So that's a goal with all the teams. Improving the athletic handbook. We just finished the spirit handbook, revamped that. That's coming to you guys to vote on and approve. That was a work in progress. Coach Walker, Coach Sella, all of them spent a lot of time working on that. So that's been revamped. We need to work some, I think, on our coaches' schedules, the stipends. I'd like to see us bring back the end-of-the-year banquets, increase the number of athletic coaches, and we'll see that here in just a second. Unless I'm missing something, I've not gotten one complaint on security or safety of anything with the athletic department. So if I'm missing something, no one's told me about it. I mean, our coaches they're adhering to the policies, they're following the rules. Our kids, we're doing it right, and so I know we've had issues in the past. I'm super proud of them for that. Our families, we've had a hard time, some of them getting physicals, so that's something I think we need to do. I did meet with 2 doctors week before last from here, and they said they're on board. So I think we can get that going, because unfortunately, a lot of our parents don't know where to go, don't know how to do it, and we're having kids that just frankly can't participate just because they don't know how to get physical. And I think we need to go back to figuring that out for them. So I got on here planning an indoor facility, an athletic complex, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. And then we've already started our committees. We've met twice. We're going to keep rolling on that state tournament. Everybody cross their fingers that we do get that bid and we can host that thing. Some more areas of growth. I think we need to some more support for our head coaches. And I would even go out on a limb and say we need an assistant. Everybody needs an assistant coach. When a coach we only have one coach. We had that this year. She got sick. We didn't have anybody to back her up. We had different people having to step in and literally be coach. And it was a beautiful thing, but we need backup. Our coaches need backup. And so we need, and to be honest, I need some help too. I'm trying hard. I don't think that I can sustain the pace that I'm keeping. And so I think we need an assistant, or I need an assistant athletic coordinator, assistant athletic director, something, we can name it whatever. But our middle school facilities need some attention. We only have one trainer in our district, and the poor girl works her rear end off, and she's doing an amazing job, but we got one. And so we need more coaches with CDLs. We need to define teaching versus coaching. If a coach is working all summer and they're making an $1,800 stipend, it's hard to justify that. So we need to talk about that. Those are things that I think that areas of growth. Our participation, it needs to increase. The culture and the climate of the entire department, I think it's getting better, but we need to keep working on that. Some program-specific meetings like I talked about, I think we need to continue those. 9th grade coaching positions. At this time, we don't have anybody that's actually assigned or paid to coach 9th grade. We just have high school assistants that kind of do it on the side. And, for example, our 9th grade football team didn't win a single football game. And that's not fair. Those kids deserve more coaches coaching them in football. So that's something that I think we need to look at. Again, a new coach evaluation system, our athletic budget. I think I would love to have conversations about that, look at comparisons to other places and see if there's anything that we can do to make that a better fit. And then an indoor athletic facility. So here's just kind of a breakdown of what we have as far as our coaches. So I'm not going to leave it up here long, but you can see a lot of programs have one coach. Girls soccer, boys soccer, cross country. I mean, she has to take 2 buses sometimes and one coach. Heaven forbid her get sick. And so those are things that I think, those are areas of growth that we can look at to see what can we do. You look like at football, 8 assistant coaches, but you compare that to other places, and we're not even in the same ballpark. Dr. S., you probably know, I know you very familiar with football. So those are kind of some things that we need. Those are areas of growth. I'd like to see us bring a bowling team back. Surely we can find some kids that want to bowl, And with all that being said, our teams are winning. Our coaches are getting it done. Our kids are getting it done. And so it's amazing to see what they're doing, in the situations that where we're at. So here's a breakdown, 7th to 9th grade. A couple things I'll point out, like right now, and Dr. P, we talked about it, and we had a short-term fix. Thank you for that. We were able to pay some coaches, a few coaches to go in and just help here and there. But we have one coach that's in 9th grade football. So, it's just the reality that we're in right now. We don't even have 9th grade track teams. So if you're a 9th grade and you want to run track, you got to run with a high school. They're not ready for that. And our track team doesn't have our numbers are low. So those are things we need to work on. And so we can kind of go through the beginning, like volleyball, we got one coach. So those are just kind of some things there. All right, so this is kind of a biggie here. This is a breakdown of the teams in our conference. And so you can kind of see, now I pulled the enrollment data about a month ago. So they said 1,100 for middle school. When I pulled it, it was 1,052. But you can kind of see we're lower in some places, we're higher in others, but you can see like number of coaches. We have 39 coaches in our district. You can see the people we play against, you can see what we're up against. Athletic trainers, assistant athletic directors. Everybody has one but us. Indoor facility. If they don't have it, they're building it. Baseball, softball fields on campus. I don't know if you're aware, but like we had 2 young ladies that were going to practice, had a wreck, had 2 major head injuries because they were having to drive to practice instead of just being able to walk to practice. Thank God they're okay, but like right now, if it's pouring down rain, our plan is for our kids to get in cars and drive to Maumelle. And so that's things I think we need to discuss and talk about. It's time to figure out what do we need to do to make that. So while this is glaring in a lot of areas, I think it's where we can improve. This is what we got, and this is where we start. Here is kind of some like coaching contract. So I took head football, head basketball, head volleyball. And if you're your first year or 20 years with a master's, it's just kind of a random range. We're at the top, we're in blue. Anything that is in red, we're higher than. I believe that's right. Yes, anything in green, we're lower than. So, and then Fayetteville does a range where they just they can hire you on a range. So they're kind of in a different ballpark, but they're a single high school, so it kind of gives you an idea. So those are just kind of the numbers where we're at for our head coaches. So in a lot of areas, we are up to par, or even better. However, they're carrying a huge load because they don't have the staffs that some of these other places have. So they're definitely earning their money. So that's for our head coaches. Our assistant coaches, you can see in red is where we're higher, in green is where we're behind. So these are our assistant coaches. And so I think we got some work to do there. And it's just, again, it's not a knock. It's just where we're at. Now, I want to say Ms. Stumpenhouse with the LPPC took a lot of time and helped me with this data, and because it took a long time to come up with this stuff. And so thank you to her. She couldn't be here, but she really was a big help in the LPPC for helping put this information together. I think this is since we're talking about athletics, I mean, a coach is going to impact more people in a year than the average person does in a lifetime. I think every kid, not just athletes, but in band, in the drama, and whatever, I think I can speak for all those student athletes and all those kids that they believe, and I think this rings home to them. So it's important. And so in the end, my conclusion would be these are kind of the 8 areas I think that we should start where we should start. I think we need an assistant athletic director or a coordinator to help me continue on the path that we're headed to make the changes that we need to make. I think we need to increase the number of stipend coaching positions, develop plans for a new indoor facility. I think we need to improve the athletic facilities at the middle school needs attention. We need to add a minimum of 1 athletic trainer. We need to begin plans for a baseball, softball complex, an aquatic facility, tennis courts on campus, and get these kids out of these cars. I think we need to address and correct the discrepancies in the supplemental pay. And then I'm sure a lot of you have seen, they started the elementary league. We're supporting them. It's going great. Rave reviews. Let's add volleyball. Let's add the football. They got the cheerleading. 6th grade, let's continue that. Let's build our programs from underneath. But we'll need that support. And so those are kind of things that through my first 6 months on the job, that's what kept servicing. And so that's what I got. Does anybody have any questions? I know you do.
We gonna start on this end? Oh. Da-da-da-da.
Okay.
First of all, great presentation, and gained a lot of information and knowledge that I didn't know reading this last night. And in some of our conversations, I've told you before that I was a student athlete all the way from 6th grade to my senior year in high school at Joe T. Robinson, where they have a statue out there at me up front. No, I'm just playing. So, and I remember, that quote, I really, it just caught my attention. A good coach can change a game, but a great coach can change a life. And I remember I had Coach Angela Jackson, starting out in the 6th grade all the way to maybe junior high.
Come on,
and,
very good. Keep on.
Oh, okay. And then, but what I want to say is that, I do agree with you on a lot of these points, and I know that, some people may not be privy to some of the information that goes on in-house and what it all takes to, just kind of make this thing run sometimes. But, at that, you need an assistant athletic director off top. I feel that way too, and I've said that before. But, and I have a person in mind, but I'm not going to say now. But I think what you need to do is kind of start putting all what you need on a spreadsheet. And, as far as like your numbers is where you want to start, and then just kind of go from there. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. And I sometimes wonder, how do you sleep a lot? When do you get sleep? And I just want to say congratulations on what you have done thus far. It's been a lot of work, and it's been, I can say that you have been an accessible athletic director. And I had a son that played football here. They graduated in 2012, and I didn't have this. I wasn't, I never saw an athletic director this visible. For that, I appreciate you for that. And you have returned phone calls, and I can bring something to you, and you take care of it immediately. So as a parent of a former student here in the North Little Rock School District and an athlete, I appreciate that from you. So you're doing a great job. And you have my support, and whatever it is that you need me to help with, I'm there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Temple.
Excellent report, and I wish I had the ability to make it all happen today. So I guess we'll just have to sit down and work out what we can afford and make plans, in the future to address all these issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great report. Just clarity question. You mentioned earlier about I believe it's the 7th and 8th grade dance team not being under your umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't they?
So we have middle school cross country, middle school tennis, and middle school dance that when I took over was not recognized by our athletic department. I'm not saying we shouldn't fix that, but at this time, that's not the way it's set up. So we try to support them in every way we can. So, for example, the dance team, they're welcome to come to games. Mr. Noble, Mr. McGriff bring them. They participate. Cross country, they go with the high school. We include them. But it's not set up right now. It's not where we recognize them or fund them. Miss Hampton basically does it through the school funds.
So how can we fix that?
We can fix it, but it'll be it'll have to be going into next year. But yeah, that's definitely on the list to work on.
And lastly, you mentioned we need some more CDL bus drivers. Are there any other needs as such that you didn't mention?
That would be a big help. I will say transportation is great, but there's times when we need to pivot on different things. Game times get changed, or for a tournament, and it can be hard to. It may be too hard to get a bus for our coaches. At times, like we have to turn in it 2 weeks in a notice, and so Ms. Coleman's good with working with us, but like they give us 2 pardons a semester, basically 2 oopsies, and I mean that happens, and so then it's like, well, we can't do that because it's too short a notice, or I have to go down there and beg. So those are some things, and I think it's to keep things streamlined. But in the athletic world, it's always changing. times change, especially in the spring. We're going to have baseball, softball, and soccer. It's going to be raining, and so we just need that flexibility to be able to go, hey, I need a bus tomorrow, and we need a bus tomorrow, or that. So transportation, and they work hard and they do a great job. It's just very difficult sometimes to coordinate that, and I didn't know till I got in this position like how many pieces move just from the transportation. So, and then yes, more coaches with CDLs.
Could we host like a CDL class or something?
Well, we offer a free training, and we'll even get them a sub to go. But a lot of our coaches, some of them are working on it, and so and some of them are being told to think about it. And I will say that moving forward, as we start our new, as we start filling new positions, that's definitely going to be something in the interview that we're going to look for, and even push like, hey, look, have you thought about it? We'll pay for it. And that's because that's going to be important, because we need that, because it's hard, and we really have one lady that we can count on outside of our coaches to take us. And then luckily, Coach Brown, who used to coach here, Jeff Brown, begged him. He's come back, renewed his CDL, and he's helping us as a favor, basically, just because he loves this place. And so we now have 2 outside coach people that's helping us, but our schools are later, and our kids need to leave sooner to get the games. It's difficult. So
what I hear, we're working on the CDLs, and we're working on getting the middle school dance a part of athletics.
Yep. Gotcha. And cross country and tennis. Those 3, yes.
Gotcha. Ms. Welcome.
Okay. 1, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. I'm going to get emotional. We have never been given this data before. As long as I've sat on this board, we have never had this much information regarding athletics. From a former athlete myself, thank you. So with that being said, I want to highlight something. 3,197 students are our athletes from grades 6 to 12. Our overall attendance from 6 to 12 is 3,707, if my math is correct. That is more than half. That is dang near 85%. And math is not my strong suit. So with that being said, thank you. Coaches in the back, please stand. All of you coaches that work for the North Little Rock School District, you collect a check, a stipend. You volunteer your time, and you bleed blue and yellow gold. Thank you. Thank you. It takes a village, and you are our village. So thank you for that.
Love, 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 love this presentation. If there was ever a persuasive presentation, this was it. I think that we will definitely take a hard look at the budget to see how we can do this. And I'm just amazed at the average of a 3.4 grade point average for our student athletes in grade 7 through 12. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely awesome. And these areas of growth that you included in there, I know more about the athletic department than I've ever known, which is a good thing, okay? Mm-hmm. I know you've been busy, and we all appreciate that. It is evident that you have been very busy. I wanted to come up with a cheer for you. And I don't know if you remember, if you heard what I said earlier about I went to this session at ASBA about Chat GPT, this artificial intelligence. So I wish I could say I wrote this, but I went into Chat GPT and had it come up with a little cheer. Wes Ballon leading the way, dedication in every play. For North Little Rock athletes, day and night, your hard work makes our spirits ignite. Thank you very much.
Mr. Steele has a question.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you addressed it, but one of the things that Mr. Steele just wanted you to reiterate was the work that you've been doing with the elementary basketball programs.
Okay.
And we all know to have strong high school programs, you got to have strong elementary programs that feed into our middle school and high school. Did you want to add anything?
I can, yeah. So I was approached, a month or two ago when that first started, Mr. Herbert Hamilton kind of got it off the ground, him and Mr. Watkins, and we desperately needed it. It was on my list of things to get to. It just wasn't at the top, and it was definitely something in the near future, and they got ahead of it. I think with you way before I even got this position, and then they just kind of needed some help. So we jumped on board, and you know, the turnout has been amazing. I've heard great things, the feedback. So kind of what we do, how we support them is, so Mr. Hamilton, he has, I think he's got like an assistant that kind of runs this concession stand. They work with Rachel, and Rachel, midweek, she'll put in a Sam's order, and all they get to do is just pull up to Sam's and it's ready. They don't have to touch money. They pull up, they load their car, and they got what they need. So that streamlined that. There was a lot of cash floating around, and so we were able to help them with that. They set their money boxes and their tickets because they didn't have a ticket system, so we helped them with that. So everything's accounted for. Mr. Brown was able to create a fund, and so all that's there. We're able to get that money and then get it back to the kids in the schools the same way we would any other. So essentially now basketball anyway is elementary all the way through 12th grade is running through our district, and I don't think that's ever happened. So that's kind of where we're at on it. And so they're doing Mr. Hamilton's doing a great job. The ladies and all, everybody. I'm just kind of answering questions when I have it. They're doing a great job. Mr. Randall, Melinda, or Rachel will pick the money boxes up, take it to them, and then pick it up at the end of the day. So they don't even have to take money home. They lock up. So it's clean. They don't have to worry and stress. And in turn, everybody's having a good time, and we're looking forward to adding some other leagues in the near future.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is great. Okay, but
Yeah, that's all. I know.
Okay. Would all coaches come down front, please?
Y'all don't grumble like that. Come on. Get your shine on.
Judge Jones. You Judge Jones.
Dr. Hooper.
And
I went over 10
think,
minutes.
and I really appreciate you volunteering. I see you come on. You need to be a picture. You all gonna be on YouTube tonight to let them see how good we are in North Little Rock School District.
Where's Dustin?
We appreciate you.
Where's Dustin?
Go down there.
Where's Dustin?
Dustin, can you please come down here? Dustin Barnes, with your camera.
All right, somebody got the cameras out there.
We're going to get it. Y'all hang on. We got to go get the camera.
And Judge Jones, to see you volunteering like you do, I know we could never pay you, but we are just grateful that your spirit and others would volunteer. The community sitting out there, you two. Hey, Coach, get your wife too, and your two daughters sitting back there. They need to be a part of you.
Where's Miss Stanley Cook?
Where are they? I thought your wife.
My wife?
Yeah. Oh, I got a hat.
Thank you, Coach Bylon. Thank you, coaches.
Again, thank you.
Oh, and thank you, Miss Faulkner, too.
Thank
I
you.
didn't forget you were still back there. Thank you for all your help. My co-coach.
Ms. Faulkner, thank you for coming. Okay, Ms. Jones trying to get out. Judge Jones? Okay. She's waiting on us. Okay.
Ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
And the last information item is 10.4, which is Act 504, 510, and 754, Technology Resource Policy. And I'll invite Mr. Hunter Nannon, our Manager of Information Technology, to give I know all the board members have read all these slides, and they've been in a lot of professional development as it relates to cybersecurity. So Mr. Nannon will hit the highlights.
Yes, so we're going to go through this quick because I gave this to you guys about probably a month ago to review, so we'll just hit the highlights. But like Dr. Paluski said, this is over Act 504, 510, 754, and 846. These were new cybersecurity legislation that came out over the summer through that legislative session. on each one of these, Act 504 is going to be the policy-based one, so that's going to cover technology use policy requirements and cybersecurity policy requirements. 510 is for the FOIA and how that relates to anything cybersecurity. Then cybersecurity insurance, quote unquote, not really insurance, but like a statewide response fund. So Act 504, which this is going to be the policy you guys will see tonight, but we'll go back to that at the end. Technology resource policy is the one we currently have, and I'll show that policy for you up front, which you guys have seen before, but that's essentially, it comes out that says don't use district equipment, email, things of that nature to use as a lobbying matter towards government officials. Don't use our stuff to go lobby or sway or anything government elected, things of that nature. The cybersecurity policy we have yet to receive from ADE, or not ADE, DIS. They have given me a snippet of it, like don't take a picture of this, we'll tell you what it is. Most of everything we already comply on it. It's not going to be a big deal in that nature. There are two things that could cost us a lot of money that are required, yet they are getting feedback from the school districts on the mandatory nature of those because we can't afford them. And there's also federal funding through USAC, the same organization that handles E-rate, that in the 25-26 school year will be at what they're telling us it's going to come out then for us to be able to cover the requirements that would be cost us a lot of money in cybersecurity policy. Act 510. This is the one that I was saying with FOIA. Essentially, you can't FOIA the district to be like, how is your network infrastructure set up? What cybersecurity protections, endpoint protections, MDRs, things of that nature are you using? What's your disaster recovery plan? Like, they can't ask us what that is because if they found out, bad actors could use that information for bad things, get a hold of us, and we don't want to end up like some districts that we all know about, and that would be a very bad time. 754 is the big one that has the most impact on us and has been. You've probably seen in my board reports NDPA like 1,010,000 times, and I think the schools are tired of me saying it. This is the requirement for for data privacy agreements to be in place with any third-party vendor that we have an active contract with, that we are sending them student data. In the state, it has not required an NDPA. The NDPA is what all the Arkansas school districts have elected to do together, as it is a standardization, and we can take that agreement and share it among each other. So if I get the agreement, say Cabot can go and piggyback off of our agreement if the company allows to. So we're all trying to work on this together as all of Arkansas because it is such a massive undertaking. This has to be done by June 1st of 2024. The biggest thing that's going to impact in regards to this is there are definitely going to be softwares and things that these teachers use every day that are not going to exist anymore because these companies are going to refuse to sign them. Quizlet, for instance, that's already one that has died because they refuse to sign the agreement. As this has gone on, more companies getting more aware of it. They're becoming more willing to do it as they realize they're going to lose a lot of business in Arkansas if they don't. There are some other things in here that I can give you more detail on because it gets really detailed and really complicated really fast. So feel free to ask any questions on it because it really does. It's been a whole rigmarole. I've been to so many meetings, trainings, been with all the technology education leaders of Arkansas on it, legislatures. I've been to a ton of things specifically on this act, so I can really do some one-on-one detail with y'all if you're ever interested in it. That's just some more detail on that act. And then Act 846, this is the Cybersecurity Response Fund. Like I was saying, quote-unquote insurance, it's really not cybersecurity insurance. It's if we have an event, the state will provide us funds to replace computers, replace physical things, pay for a team to come in, and they'll do that up to $100,000. This doesn't pay for ransomware. This isn't full coverage of an event that happens cybersecurity wise. And you're not guaranteed every bit of that funds. It depends on how much happens in the state. And this doesn't just include school districts, this also includes counties, municipalities, things of that nature. The money for that fund is a $900,000 yearly fund that gets taken out of the school district's operating budget before we ever receive it at the beginning of the year. They won't tell us what that little metric is of how much they're taking from it, but from what we've gathered is the larger you are, the more they're going to take out of your budget to be able to fund this, but it's probably not incredibly too impactful considering it. Every single municipality in the school districts in the entire state have to go towards that 900,000. We're just hoping they don't start taking gigantic chunks from us, Little Rock, and us big players, but we're still waiting on clarity on what that actual calculation is. Now, that's pretty much the overarching and some resources. The one thing I wanted to move on to is show you the actual policy so you could read this. And the only thing that's different is, so this is the policy that was provided to us by ASBA, except for there on the bottom, where it says the use of student personal identifiable information is not permitted to be used with informational technology resources unless approved by the North Little Rock School District Technology Department and Student Management Services Department. This is more the addition is there as a legal coverage in a sense, because that Act 754 is such a vague and, like I said, complicated detail law that a teacher who decides they want to search a kid's name in Google, well, that all of a sudden became part of that law, and they were doing it in our school district, and it would then fall under that law, and then we could be held liable for it. This is, you're not allowed to use anything with any form of student data unless it is run by us or Ms. Hale's department first and been approved. And it's going to be the way we better control it, but also this gives us a lot of legal ground covering us. Mr. Smith and Mr. Beckett have both blessed this. And again, for some clarity with this technology resource policy, where it's sectioned in school board policies, this isn't one of those ones that has to get approved by CPPC, LPPC, so forth. This will get approved by y'all, then go to the Arkansas School Board Association, approved by them, and then we'll be in. You might hear too, technically with this technology resource policy, we are behind due date, but that is not our fault because the state didn't provide us the policy till after the due date. So that's pretty much it. I try to get a lot in quickly, but if you got any questions, I'm open to them.
Ms. McLean.
On this money that's going to come out of our budget somehow to pay that $900,000, that's for the $900,000 covers the whole state,
Yes.
correct?
That's why I wouldn't say I would worry about it too much, because that's a $900,000 fund that every single municipality, city, and school district has to contribute to.
So they're going to take that out before
We even
money
see it. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be like before Mr. Brown sees his like operating budget for the year, it will have been deducted.
Okay.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Dr. Reddy.
I'm just curious how the internet is going at the new annex.
The new annex, currently it got through all of its
City permits?
permits. All the permits are done. Windstream was out there this week trying to start breaking ground, and they're having to change how they're doing it. But the fact they got through permits, that's one of the hardest parts, so it's moving along.
Which includes the state permits?
Which includes the State Department of Transportation permits.
Excuse me.
That's
good.
Good report.
Ms. Temple.
I have no questions. I'm just glad you're on it.
I feel like I've become a lawyer in the last 4 months, and I'm a little tired of it. But yeah, I'm trying to keep us all good on it.
Ms. West.
I have no questions, but just great, great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a tremendous report. Have we had
A lot
any
of
cyber people breaking in on us here?
No,
in the district?
luckily. I mean, people, I wouldn't say there isn't a day going by that somebody isn't trying something.
Correct.
But we have things always stopping it. Yep. Because there's always somebody trying something. It's just if they're successful or not is what's important.
Well, we certainly appreciate your leadership in the technology department,
You're doing a great job.
and thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
And, Dr. P?
Just one, just something to think about. We need to get with Ms. Colquitt so that we get the policy a number where we can put it on board docs within the sequence and where it best fits. So just when we come back to the board, we'll make sure we have a
Definitely
school
we'll
board
make that.
policy number.
Okay, thank you. You are
Thank you.
excused. And thank you for
You're doing
your
a
other
good job,
helper you
Hunter.
got back there, young man. What's his name?
Mr. Riddle.
We appreciate
Randy
it.
Riddle.
Let him know we appreciate him.
The
Okay, at this time, we have action items, and the first one is 11.1, the reorganization of the Board of Education. You will begin, Ms. Walkham, on that?
All right, Madam President,
Yes.
I so nominate for president Cindy Temple.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept, are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried. Cindy Temple is officially the president of the North Rock School Board.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so nominate for parliamentarian Valerie.
No, you have to go down. Next
I gotta
would
go
be
all the way
vice
down the
pre-
list?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I apologize. Vice President, I nominate you, Dorothy.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that Dorothy Williams be nominated for the part of Vice President of the Board. Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? If not, we will close on the name, Dorothy Williams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
Anyone else want to make a nomination?
Madam Chair, I'm nominate for secretary Angela Person.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. What was the name?
Angela for
Angela.
secretary.
Angela West is secretary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute, I did that. Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? If not, those in favor for the name of Angela West be the secretary of the North Rock School Board, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
I nominate, or I move that Dr. Rochelle Redis be the dispersing officer.
Second.
Okay, it is motion that Dr. Redis becomes the dispersing officer. Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? If not, we will close on that name. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried. Next motion.
The alternate dispersing officer, I nominate Natalie Walkham.
Second.
Okay, Natalie, welcome for assistant. Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? If not, we'll close on that name, Natalie Walkham as the assistant dispersing officer. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried. So, Ms. Natalie Walkham, you are now the assistant. Okay?
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I nominate Valerie McLean for parliamentarian.
Second.
Okay, are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? If not, we will close it on Valerie McLean for parliamentarian of the North Rock School Board. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
There's only one position left, but we can only vote if he's still on the call. Is Mr. Steele still here, present? Okay. I nominate Tracy Steele for liaison.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly second that Mrs. Steele become liaison, because all positions have been covered. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
Madam President,
Yes.
I would like to amend the agenda to add Dr. P, the superintendent, as ex officio financial secretary.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we have Dr. Paluski as an ex officio secretary. Okay, financial secretary. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is carried.
Madam President, I move that, because we have to do the whole slate, for our 2024 officers, President Cindy Temple, Vice President Dorothy Williams, Secretary Angela Person West, Parliamentarian Valerie McLean, Dispersing Officer Dr. Rochelle Redis, Alternate Dispersing Officer Natalie Wancom, Legislative Liaison Tracy Steele, and our Superintendent ex officio Financial Secretary Dr. Paluski for the 2024 year.
Second.
Agree? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, so the motion is being carried. Dr. P.
Yeah, Madam President, I just want to let Ms. Colquitt know, just because I think Mr. Steele is still on, that for the record, he has voted aye in support of all of the nominations for officers.
And so
Okay.
parliamentarian procedure at this point would be to pass the gavel, or y'all change
That's
seats.
I guess what we're gonna do is pass the
Okay.
gavel since I got so much junk.
What's she saying?
Okay.
We'll change that because she's got so much junk.
Oh.
All right.
Madam President, but before you take over, I do want to, as we do in all tradition, do want to recognize in appreciation to Ms. Dorothy Williams for being our school board president, North Little Rock School District during the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, thank you.
Speech. Oh, she gotta get a picture first.
Thank you.
Okay. So
Yep.
11.2.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, members of our Board of Education, action item 11.2, employment of personnel. The superintendent recommends the employment of personnel as discussed in executive closed session.
Second.
No,
Madam Chair.
I'm sleepy.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the employment of personnel as discussed in the executive closed session.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second. Any questions? Okay, may I have the vote?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Madam President, members of our Board of Education. The next action item is 11.3, Arkansas Teacher Residency Apprenticeship. As you remember from our last board meeting, this is the approval that superintendent recommends the school board, the overall proposal of teacher residency apprenticeship model, which includes the stipend that was presented at our last board meeting.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the Arkansas Teacher Residency Apprenticeship.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam President, members of our Board of Education, the next action item is 11.4, North Little Rock School District Advanced Programs. Remember, this was an update by Dr. Harbin specifically for the seminar for 7th and 8th grade as it was presented to you at the last board meeting.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the NLRSD Advanced Program Update.
Second.
It's moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the regular meeting minutes from November 16th and the special meeting minutes from December 7th.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second to accept the regular minute meetings for November 16th and the special meeting minutes for December 7th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam President, I so move that we accept the consent agenda 12.1 bank reconciliation, 12.2 net legal balance, 12.3 monthly financial report, 12.4 business office items, 12.5 payment regular bills, and 12.6 the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly second to pass the bank reconciliation, the net legal balance worksheet, the monthly financial reports, business office items, payment of the regular bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, now we're on to acknowledgements. Do
Dr.
we
Fee?
have acknowledgements tonight?
I just want to say, have a safe and wonderful spring break. Get some rest.
Spring break?
No, spring break. I'm,
We
see,
holiday,
I'm
we are
way-
tired.
I'm already ready. Christmas break. Happy holidays to everybody. Get some rest. Enjoy your family. And we'll see you in January.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. McLean.
I'd just like to say that there was something in, yes, there was something in Dr. Lightfoot's leader. She had a thought for the day that reminded me of something that my mother used to always say to me. She'd say, Valerie, they can take your car away, Valerie, they can take your house away, but they can't take your diploma or your degree away. And in her leader, she put a quote by B.B. King that said, the most beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you. And I just want to thank all our educators out there who are working hard every day to impart learning through their teaching with our students, because that will not be able to be taken away from them. So I want to thank all our employees, and I also want to say Merry Christmas. And also from Miss Jordan's newsletter, she had 12 days of you. I hope that y'all have 12 days of you during this holiday and recharge your battery and come back in January all revved up and ready for the new year.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you for being a part of the North Little Rock School District. And as we saw tonight as a testimony, we are doing amazing things in this district. Dustin, thanks for highlighting those, and just keep it up. We're going to smother out the nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dustin, on that video. Awesome. That was an awesome video.
Okay, it was me skipping.
Save the best for last. I just want to say thank you all for all that you do within the school district, our amazing teachers, administration. I'll pray that all of our students have a happy, safe holiday week or week and a half, and come back.
January the 8th.
Oh, well, that's a long time. Come back with the renewed spirit and ready to open those books up and finish out the year strong and get it going.
I would like to say Happy New Year to everybody, all the students, staff, everybody, and police officers. We sure appreciate you all. And the guy that got the promotion back there, to the detective now, give him a hand, thank you.
Lieutenant Sims.
Lieutenant. And we especially grateful for our own staff of security. And above all, words cannot articulate the profound joy and love and admiration that I have for our administrators. You all are off the chain. If you weren't doing anything, people couldn't talk. Because you're doing things, people got a whole lot to say. But you keep it going, stay positive, and I'm like my mother used to tell me, and I'm going to be like Miss West down the end. If you can't say something good, don't say anything at all. And have a phenomenal, blessed Christmas. And be safe, stay positive, get up in the morning, have joy. And by the way, safe travel for all of you that are going on vacations. Safe travel. All right, we got the smartest people in the North Rock School District.
We do, and I can't beat any of that. So I would just add Merry Christmas And we are on to public comments. So let me read. Citizens who desire to speak during public comment must sign in prior and will be called to the podium. Public comment is not a question and answer period, and as such, school board members and the superintendent do not respond to public comments during a meeting. Further, citizens will have no more than 3 minutes to speak. And we ask that you do not make comments that shall prejudice the board of directors concerning students' personnel matters that could come before the board for disciplinary or employment considerations, or that may be in conflict with district or laws. And the first person who signed up is John McClellan.
Hello, board. New president, Dr. Paluski. I'm furious. I'm glad I sat here for 3 hours cooling off. I've been, my two custody grandkids have been attending 7th Street for up to 7 years. We've gone through 6 principals. Most of them leave during the school year. And the one we have now is part-time at best with split duties. At least 4 years I've been begging for help, numerous meetings with superintendent and board members. Part-time principal, no parent-teacher rep, down the usual 2 secretaries, leave the parents to talk to people that they're not familiar with. The current principal is not there much more than an hour a day, if that. I ran into him the other night at 5 o'clock as he pulled into the parking lot and talked about a problem, and he basically laughed, said, "Sorry, I don't know anything about it, I wasn't here today," and walked off. The assistant principal has little to no support, as a new assistant principal should. The big deal of the E4 committee, we didn't insist on a topic, we just let you know what we didn't want, but that's what we got. The only reason the E4 has even met in the last 6 months is because I raised dust about it, not being a meeting. The PTA meeting was 6 people. I can't say her name. The assistant principal, 1 para, my wife, myself, 1 aunt, and 1 parent. The teachers I talked to are not happy and expect several not to return after the Christmas break. We have nearly all new novice teachers with minimal experience, especially for kids, which may be considered more challenging for any teacher. Over the years, I've had conversations with at least 20 teachers where we were pushing back tears, talking about the desire to help the kids, but we keep leaving, they keep leaving or getting run off. They truly want to help, but they're either not led or supported. I have been kind of stirring up the dust again recently after a day in the lunchroom, and now my daughter, who has had 1 disciplinary incident with a bully in 7 years at 7th Street. This daughter is 4 years into gifted and talented, ambassador to guests at the schools on numerous occasions, volleyball team, cheer team captain, received a leadership award at a week-long camp at the military base. She has 2 teachers had no problem with her dress, which a number of kids had worn, but the fill-in principal caught her out in the hallway helping clean someone else's classroom that wasn't even hers, took her to the office, called me out of my name like she don't know me, and on speakerphone in front of several students and staff, and banned her from cheering that day or the following weekend at the game. I want you to know she took real pride in asserting her authority. I asked who it was because I was not familiar with her name, as she said she was Miss Blank. I'm more familiar with her being known as a Dr. Blank. Apparently we got rid of one bully and moved another one in. I'm told she had at least 1 kitchen staff in tears, boasted to kids that she had suspended 11 in 3 days, I believe it's 3 days, and ready for more. My daughter has had more trouble this week than in the last 7 years. I pulled her out of school today, and she will not return. My other 2 will get pulled tomorrow after the Christmas party. I want to apologize to the
Mr.
7th
McClellan,
Street staff.
your 3 minutes is up.
I want to apologize to the 7th Street staff and the kids. They deserve better, and they deserve a good education. I'm sure some will be glad we're leaving. That's sad. We are not better. We are worse. Don't act like you don't know. I've been telling you it for years. I pray for you all.
Mr. Cavan?
I'm going to assert my First Amendment right and state my viewpoint as the Constitution and the Supreme Court says I can. And my viewpoint is, first I want to say congratulations are in order to Greg, Natalie, Jacob Smith, Leanne Stahl, Tori Hooper, and Tracy Lightfoot. You got it done. It took 2 years. But you finally harassed Connie Bamberg enough that she resigned. So congratulations to all of you. You finally got what you want.
Dr. P, can we talk
Now-
about the evidence?
Now, a while back I filed a ethics complaint against Greg Pelosi, Tori Hooper, Amy Jordan, Tracy Lightfoot for violating the governor's executive order on CRT. What I said would be fair is if the PLSB issued a letter of caution, and that's what they did. Each one of you got a letter of caution. And that was fair because the governor's executive order just came out, and it was kind of a little bit of grace period. What's not fair is that when someone, an educator, has an allegation raised against them in a complaint, it's against them and not against the district. It's against them and their license. So you can't use taxpayer funds to represent yourself. You can't use the district's attorney firm to represent you at the PLSB. It would be the same, say Greg was driving a vehicle to go from central office to Boone Park. And on the way, in his duty, he got pulled over for speeding. He can't use the district law firm to represent him in court. But that's what y'all did. Use Beckett, Billingsley, and Keys to represent you in a personal matter. I have the invoices right here and the checks that you paid for a total of $7,845.40 that the taxpayers paid to represent each of you personally at the ADE. That's against the law. In Title V under Criminal Code, that's called abuse of office. Under Title VI, it's called an unwarranted privilege. So I want everybody to know the taxpayers paid that. The taxpayers paid that. When Jacob Smith falsely accused Connie Bamberg in a complaint to ADE, which she was exonerated of, did the district pay for her representation? No. You broke the law once again. Oh, and Natalie, I did notice when Judge Jones got announced as 6A Coach of the Year, everybody in this room applauded, but you.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.